fashion evolves at the speed of light. And to keep up with that is very challenging to say the least. Not only from a designer perspective, but all facets of the industry. From the point of view of a writer, it's really understanding where we've been and where we're going. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So as you can see, more than a decade ago, before the introduction of the internet and social media, fashion journalism particularly dominated the industry itself. And writing was really from the standpoint of critique and guidelines. You'll see here an example of an article that I wrote for Runway magazine, and that's critiquing Paris Fashion Week. So when you're writing in this realm, it's really about documenting what you see. It's taking yourself out of the equation and writing from the point of view about a critique and a very factual point, and showcasing it from a non-emotional standpoint. So this really evolves into basically documenting a step-by-step process and not being about the writer, but being about what it is that you're writing about. Before we get into how it has evolved with the internet, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and my background. I do not have a journalism degree. I went to fashion school and majored in product development and manufacturing. So the last 10 years, I have primarily focused working in LA on the corporate side in production and product development. So I've used that experience and that background to really catapult me in today's world of PR and working for a PR agency. So I now have my own PR agency, and instead of pitching to a writer and a journalist, I thought, why not eliminate that part of the process and do it myself? So with the internet, with social media, that has allowed me to be able to do that versus in the past, we would have had challenges to not necessarily have those opportunities. So now when we start to look into how it has evolved in today's world, from a writer perspective, we have more opportunities. We're not just limited to being a staff writer at a magazine publication. We now can have the opportunity to have our own voice and to be our own boss. So, as you all know, there's a lot of websites that have come up. There's a lot of online magazines that are out there. It's very fast in knowledge. People have a lot of knowledge and they're able to get that to us right away. So we're starting to see a lot of websites pop up. And then we started to see a whole world of fashion bloggers emerge. And I remember back in the day when this started happening, we started looking at bloggers from the corporate side of fashion and wondering how this was going to play a part of the fashion industry. And I remember on our corporate meeting discussions, we would say, oh, we don't really feel like bloggers are going to be predominant in the industry. We're not going to feel like they're going to really have a voice and be competition for magazines. And I don't necessarily feel like they are competition for magazines. There's definitely a place for bloggers and a place for publications. But we've noticed, even on the corporate side, working for fashion companies, bloggers have really started to dominate the market. And a lot of companies are hiring bloggers to really get their voice out, get their brand out to the masses. So bloggers play a huge role in the fashion industry as a whole. And if you're a blogger, the way that you communicate and the way that you write to your readers is a very relaxed tone. It's a very personal approach. It's creating a trust with the viewers and people that are following your site. So now let's fast forward into, the life of social media as a whole, like the last speaker was talking about. We cannot live in this society today, especially being in the fashion industry, without immersing ourselves into the social media world. Having a voice on social media is very important, especially especially as a writer, because you're going to be having your articles published in online magazines and print magazines across websites. You want to be able to use social media as a tool to be able to showcase your voice and showcase yourself as a writer and actually use social media to promote yourself on those platforms. So now with this evolving world of social media and bloggers and online websites, how does that really affect being a writer in today's industry? You can see here that nowadays we're wearing many hats. There's a lot of pros and cons to this change in our world today. Some of the cons are definitely the fact that the industry is definitely faster, right? You have to create more content, and that content is generated really quickly. So no longer are the days of going to a fashion show and it taking several months before you get that information of what happened at that event. You're actually going to be able to see it instantly with social media. Now there are still print magazines actually that take some time to get to print, but it's not like how it used to be in the past. So there's more pressure on a fashion writer to now actually produce content at a faster rate, which at the end of the day requires more content than what maybe you've written in the past. Now you have to engage on social media. So not only are you writing, but you're actually now having to use social media, use your blog as a way in addition to your writing to get your name out. So you're doing a lot more things than just writing an article nowadays. But some of the pros to this change in our society has been the fact that you can now use that as a way to create your own brand and your own voice in your own company. You know, my story is a perfect example. I didn't set out to be a fashion writer. That was not necessarily my goal or my vision. What I was doing was product development and manufacturing, and I used my experience as a way to explain to the reader from a technical standpoint, which in a result can mean that it's developing my own brand and my own company. You do have different outlets nowadays than what we were saying before. You're not limited to just print. You can do blogs, you can do online magazines. And there's a lot more flexibility too. Like as you start to develop your own self as a company and a brand, that allows you to get to pick and choose what you're passionate about and what you want to write about. So with this oversaturated market, how do we really use that to our advantage, and how do we stand out in the crowd if we're wanting to be a fashion writer? The first step is really to take a step back and really look at it from the perspective of what is my niche going to be? What am I passionate about? What do I want to say to the world? What is my experience? Going back to my past and my experience, I used product development and manufacturing as a way to create my own niche. I was able to show to editors, hey, even though I'm not a journalist, even though I don't have a background in writing, I have a background in fashion, in product development, in manufacturing, where I can write from a technical standpoint and really educate the readers from that angle. And to my surprise, editors love that approach. So finding what your niche is and what you're good at might be totally different from the norm, different from what is out there, but use that to your advantage. Also, another thing to keep in mind is staying in the know, meaning know what's going on in the industry, what's going on with pop culture, with celebrities, what's trending in the market. Fashion goes hand in hand with the entertainment industry, so you can't think that for a second you're going to be able to write about something unless you kind of are understanding what is going on in our world. Like, for instance, right now, organic, vegan type products are really trending in our marketplace. So if you're wanting to set out to have your articles published in magazines, then you need to really know what those editors are looking for, what they're interested in publishing. that's going to, at the end of the day, set you up for the most success. So, also know what the responsibilities are of a writer. Not only are you writing, like what we were talking about before, but you're going to be playing many different roles. You might be a liaison between the design department and the PR agency to get high-resolution photos for your article. You might have to travel to an event to be there physically to be able to cover it the way that you need to cover it. You're also going to be pitching to editors. So you're going to be doing interviews. There's going to be so many other things that you're going to be doing other than physically writing an article. So really knowing what you're getting into before you do will help you the most. Here is an example. This is my blog that I started a couple of years ago. I use this blog as an added outlet for my business. So anything that I have going on in the industry is a way that I can showcase that as a platform for credibility. My blog is all about the nitty-gritty of the industry, what is going on behind the scenes from a fashion industry expert's point of view. A lot of my articles are really showcasing a new up-and-coming company and interviewing the company and showcasing to you on why that company is unique. So if you're wanting to become a writer, then you need to have a blog, because from an editor's point of view, they need to have an area where they can come and see your work, see your voice, see what you represent, what you're about, get a feel for your writing style. So having a blog is very important. So think about what kind of theme you want to create, what type of topics you want to have, create an outline, and create a schedule. Being, to the point of creating a calendar, so maybe you post once a week or you post once every 2 weeks. Try to be consistent as possible. And like what we talked about earlier, get social. So this is really a step-by-step process of what you need to do to set yourself up for success. An editor is going to want to definitely see that you are in the marketplace, you have a blog, you have social media accounts that you're using to showcase your work and get your name out to readers and to editors. So you can see here, anytime I have something going on, I'm always putting that out there so people can see, so editors can see what's going on and what events that we're going to. So once you have everything in place, once you understand the responsibilities that a writer has to abide by, once you have a blog set up, once you get your social media accounts set up, and you really have an understanding of what it is that you're going to be doing, then you can start reaching out to different websites and online publications, online blogs, to start contributing to their sites. So here you can see a lot of my work across different websites that I've done in the past. This just shows you a way that you can really broaden your spectrum and really reach a lot of people and showcase your work across many different platforms. So in order to contribute to websites, a lot of websites have on their contact us page a way that you can get involved and contribute to their site. So at the beginning, when you're just starting out and you're developing your portfolio, be willing and able to write articles for free for people to get the process going, to start a portfolio and build some momentum with your own personal brand. And then once you have a good portfolio built up and you feel pretty confident about your writing capabilities and you understand what your niche is and what you really want to do, then you can start going after some larger publications like you see here. This is kind of my step-by-step process of what I've done in my career. So the first step when you want to start going after a larger magazine is start reading the magazine that you're interested in that aligns perfectly with the demographic, with the voice that you're wanting to also be a part of. So start reading it, start looking at the other writers that are contributing to that magazine, what they're saying, how they're saying it, figure out how you can be a part of that, but then also have your own unique spin to it, and then contact that magazine and pitch them a story. A lot of times I hear from people in the industry that are wanting to get involved in this area, how do I find out the right person's contact information? And I'm sure you all know LinkedIn is a great resource, and for me that has been my primary resource that I use. I consider it my Bible. And you can pretty much find anybody's information on there for the most part. If you can't find exactly who you need, there's somebody within that company that's probably listed in LinkedIn that you can connect with. So use LinkedIn as a great resource to get the confirmation or the information that you need in order to contact the person to make the pitch to the editor. And really at the end of the day, the fashion industry has evolved. It's changing to where we are our own brand and we're our own voice and we can create our own path to success. I've kind of shown you where we've come from as an industry and where we're going in the future. But at the end of the day, we have our own capability to set our path for ourselves and our own success. And we call this in the industry innovation. So, thank you.